What's going on, everyone? So we got reports yesterday that Rui Hachimura is not being shopped, which I understand the idea of not shopping Rui. Now, more likely than not, Rui is going to have to be involved in some type of trade package. He has the largest salary if we're going to make any moves for even not even like a superstar or anything like that, but even if you just want to get like an upgrade at a skill position or get a legit two-way guy, you're probably including Rui Hachimura. And then also, they are very reluctant to trade Austin Reaves. We've gotten countless reports in regards to Austin Reaves being on the trade block, that they only want a bona fide all-star. I was in the camp of trading Austin Reaves for DeJounte Murray. Look, I like Austin Reaves. I think Austin Reaves is solid. Now, is he the player that many expected him to be, myself included? No. But I don't think he's a bad player. His value is more so in his contract than anything. But to me, you don't just trade these guys for any particular reason. You don't just trade Rui just for the sake of trading Rui. You don't just trade Reaves just for the sake of trading Reaves. But if you can get a clear upgrade that makes your team better for now and the future, you do it, right? So like for me, it was a no-brainer to trade Austin Reaves for DeJounte Murray. However you want to slice it, DeJounte Murray is the better player. And he gives you a lot of things that Austin Reaves doesn't in athleticism, versatility, as far as just length, size, switchability, again, being a point of attack. If he can get back to being that all-defensive guy, some people think like, oh, he can't. Look at what he did in Atlanta. Yes, but there's a big difference between being on a team that actually has good defensive pieces, such as a Jarred Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis, and a team that doesn't, and it's just like you and Clint Capella are basically the sole defensive guys, and you're trying to make up for so many things. But nonetheless, right, the Lakers, they want to keep these two if possible. My thing is like, if you want to get something, you have to give something. Right? No team is just going to help us out of the kindness of their heart. But again, you don't just trade guys just to trade them. So more likely than not, the Lakers want to package D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent. These are two guys. Problem is D'Angelo Russell, he could just walk, which would make Austin Reaves and Rui Hachimura even more likely to be traded because now you don't have D'Lo's money. Now, in a perfect world, D'Lo just opts in, and now you have his $18.5 million that you can use to go and potentially make a move or two, or go get whether it's a star or several pieces, however you want to approach it. So that's a perfect world. Gabe Vincent, I don't really mind trading him, right? Like the concern would be, one, him as a reserve, backup, kind of point of attack guy, and then him being able to shoot three ball. Now, obviously, we didn't get to really see much at all this past season because he was injured the whole time, and then when he came back, he was just kind of relegated to just little key spots, being a specialty guy at times, which I do think that he can be a very good two-way player for the Lakers, and he's another guy that's on value. But again, if the right move is there, you do it. Right? Like, you absolutely do it. I'm not against trading Gabe Vincent. I'm not against trading pretty much anybody. I mean, I don't think anybody should be untouchable, but I think it just depends on what the trade is. However, there's a lot of talks about the Lakers looking to potentially trade Jarred Vanderbilt. Now, I don't like that at all. If you want to trade Rui, you want to trade Reaves, you want to trade, if D'Lo opts in, fine. You want to trade Gabe Vincent, fine. Go ahead, trade everybody. Again, I don't think Jarred Vanderbilt is untouchable, but I think that I would personally trade everyone else first before Jarred Vanderbilt. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's better than all those guys or anything like that. What it means is when you look at what he does, his skill set, what the Lakers would need if they traded various other guys, and again, you want to talk about value, he's just getting into his new contract, signed a 4-year deal. This year, he'll be making $10.7 million, so just call it $11 million. Then he's making $11.5 million, then $12.5 million. Then he has a player option in 2027, 2028 at $13.2 million. So you basically have him for the next 3 years minimum at, we'll say average of $11 million a year for what he does. Now, I understand the concern is, again, he was injured last year. That's a big problem. He has, had his injury issues here and there throughout the course of his career, but that's also because he's just like 100 miles an hour nonstop game in and game out on the defensive side of things. You usually see a lot of these like specialty defensive guys usually get hurt. And why is that? Because they're exerting so much energy on the defensive side. And we don't have this like elite defense to where he doesn't have to work twice hard. He has to cover so much ground, it's ridiculous. But you look at even last year, he played 78 games between Utah and the Lakers. The year before that, he played 74 games, then 64 games, right? So this is a guy that's played a fair amount of games since he really kind of hit his stride, right? Obviously, his first year he played 17. Then his second year he played 11. But that was more so just him not getting playing time. He was on Denver for a little bit, Minnesota. And then you saw when he first made that big leap was the 2020-2021 season, in which he played 64 games at age 21, averaged 18 minutes. And then you just saw his minute increase year in and year out. And he was a big factor. Again, this is a guy that's played 78 games the last two seasons, or 74 plus the last two seasons, and 64. But there are concerns, again, about the injuries, right? Can he stay healthy and overexert himself, or is this an outlier year? Is this an anomaly year, right? The other concern is his three-point shooting, right? Can he shoot the three ball with effectiveness and efficiency? Because he is also 25, which isn't old by any stretch, but you'd like to see some real strides by now in his three-point shooting and his three-point production. He's had stretches, he's had moments, but really the best season he's had shooting the three ball was last year at 30. He was 32% total between the Lakers and the Jazz. He was 33% with Utah, and then 30% for the Lakers. But you also saw Jarred Vanderbilt have some real success when we were running that 5 out, and we were using him as the screen man and as the roll man. He had a 5-game stretch or whatever where he was giving you 12 points a game. Right? So I think that is something that you could continue to do with him, and then we just need him to be respectable from three-point range. But he does something that none of the other guys do, and that is the defensive side, the versatility on the defensive side. Right? His size, his length, him being able to defend essentially 1 through 5. You don't get that with Austin Reaves. You don't get that with D'Angelo Russell. You don't get that with Rui Hachimura. You don't get that with any of these guys. Gabe Vincent is another guy. But here's the problem too, is if you're trading Jarred Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent, it's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of energy that you're getting rid of. That's a lot of defense. It's a lot of just the dirty work guys, which is something that we've talked about heavily. And Jarred Vanderbilt impacts the game in so many ways that do not translate to the box score. Because again, he's the guy that's doing the dirty work. He's the guy that's chasing down the loose balls. He's the guy that's getting the offensive rebounds. He's the guy that is creating live ball turnovers. He's the guy that's creating turnovers, period, that lead to more possessions for the Lakers. He has an impact on both sides of the basketball. There is more to offense than just shooting and scoring the basketball. It's about possessions. Right? And Jarred Vanderbilt is excellent at getting the Lakers more possessions, which leads to more opportunities, which leads to more offensive output, right? So Jarred Vanderbilt is so important in that way. Again, I don't believe that Jarred Vanderbilt should be completely untouchable. I don't think, if you told me, Donovan Mitchell, hey, you have to give up Jarred Vanderbilt if you want to get Donovan Mitchell, sure, go ahead, here you go. Because Donovan Mitchell is that good, that talented. He sets you up for now and the future, right? I'm not saying you just trade Jarred Vanderbilt for the sake of trading Jarred Vanderbilt. But my thing is, who are you going to get that you can't trade these other guys for? Because he's only making $10 million, right? So, again, trade Gabe Vincent, right? Let's say you have to trade Rui and Vincent. Okay, I'd rather you do that than Rui and Vando, right? Because yes, Gabe Vincent can provide, but chances are we're going to be getting forwards and guard spots, right? But we need guys like Jarred Vanderbilt. I just think his intangibles are just too valuable for what this Lakers team is, and especially if they go get that other star. If you go get a Trey, you're desperately going to need somebody like a Jarred Vanderbilt because you're going to have to make up for the lack of defense that Trey provides. And not to mention LeBron James. Right? So if you have a guy, let's say you were able to land Trey, you need Jarred Vanderbilt more than ever because Trey is not a defensive guy. He's not getting the stops necessary. He's not a point of attack guy. But if you have Jarred Vanderbilt, he can make up so much ground. The Lakers literally went from middle of the pack defensively to the number one defense in the league with just Jarred Vanderbilt. Why? Because he covers so much ground. Him and Anthony Davis as a pairing basically make up for the other three guys. You just need everyone else to be serviceable if you want to be the number one defense, right? So Jarred Vanderbilt, him being able to cover so much ground, that also takes pressure off of everybody else. And then, you go, even if you just throwing in a Max Christie or something like that, to where he is just kind of, again, he just has to be serviceable on the defensive side. He's probably guarding the third best guy anyway. And now let's go, right? Or even if you were able to get a Donovan Mitchell, right? The ailments of Jarred Vanderbilt are not as bad. Like, his ability to not be able to score as much is not as bad if you have that much offensive firepower, right? But his hustle and his drive, like, look at a team like Denver, right? Like, Aaron Gordon is like 22% from three on that weak side corner. Now, he's actually really good on the strong side corner. He's actually like 40% or something on that other corner, but more times than not, he shoots on the other side. On occasion, he can get hot, but most of his points come from just the actions and being the screen setter and getting offensive rebounds and putbacks and being the lob man and stuff, right? Like, but Denver has so much offensive firepower, they can get by with Aaron Gordon at times not being successful on the offensive side or just focusing and locking in on the defensive side, right? Like, Jarred Vanderbilt can be that for us. I'm not saying you don't trade him. I just think to me, I would trade everybody else before I traded Jarred Vanderbilt, because it's just so much harder to get these type of guys right now in the league because everybody wants them. That sizable, versatile, switchable defensive guys, right? Like, look at Denver. Look at, Minnesota. Look at Dallas, right? I mean, they're basically got to the conference finals because they just got a bunch of guys that can defend. Some of them aren't the greatest three-point shooters. They can hit the occasional. That's all we need Jarred Vanderbilt to be, is just serviceable from three, right? So if we can have that, then I think, and you can get him in the proper offensive actions, I do believe he can be a serious offensive weapon. Not in the sense of, I don't think he's going to be a 20-point-a-game guy or anything like that, but I do think he can get to double figures. I think he can average, 10 to 12 a game. I don't think that's far-fetched. Give us a three, a couple free throws, being aggressive towards the rim, but primarily just lob threats and hustle plays. Right? I absolutely think. I mean, again, he had like a 5-game stretch where he gave you 12 a game, right? And it wasn't hard. I mean, he was doing it in limited minutes, right? Like, because again, he has just so much energy, and people forget about him tucked in the corner, and he just breaks, and then you're not catching him. I don't want to see Vando go out of all these guys. Like, to me, trade everyone else. Whoever else you want, other than like Max Christie. I want them to keep Max Christie. Keep Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, and Jarred Vanderbilt. And I'm good. Trade everyone else if you want. But that's my opinion. As always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know yours down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Are you somewhere between? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.